The 85mm lens has been popular for a very long time. And with a quick YouTube search, you'll quickly find that it's often referred to as the king of B-roll. I have used an 85mm focal length for B-roll many times in my videos, and I would agree. It gives you a very beautiful image, and it's popular for a reason. The 85mm lenses typically have a fast aperture of 1.8 or 1.4 or even 1.2, and it has good compression. So because of those attributes, it gives you a special perspective that you don't typically get with just your eye. Then there's parallax. You know that effect where the foreground and background are moving at different speeds? You know the effect I'm talking about. Michael Bay often uses it in his movies. The thing about that, though, is you need to mount your camera onto a stabilizer. Otherwise, you're gonna get a lot of camera shake. So for our one camera, one lens, one scene today, we had to pick something that didn't use a stabilizer because I don't have a gimbal right now. And so the scene that Katerina and I brainstormed and came up with is from a classic movie. And it also needed to be a scene where I could get enough distance from her, because if you've shot with the 85 before, then you'll know that you do need a lot of distance from your subject. I don't want to give anything away, but we made it out to Friedrichstrasse, which is the Berlin equivalent of Fifth Avenue in New York City. So maybe that'll give you a hint. But it's getting super busy out, so Kat and I need to get to work. So let's shoot the scene and we'll do a mini breakdown after.
Okay, so if it wasn't apparent, the scene that we chose to inspire this one camera, one lens, one scene is from the intro of the movie Breakfast at Tiffany's. And we chose that scene specifically for a couple of reasons. It had 5 shots that were static that we felt we could replicate easily because, as I mentioned before, when there's a lot of movement with an 85mm lens, the camera shake and handheld movement is very unpleasing to the eye. And so with the challenge of only having 5 shots to recreate a scene, that movie had that. Even though the scene probably originally wasn't shot with 85mm, maybe more like a 50, I felt like the 85 could work well simply because there was compression from the streets, as some of the shots had the long streets as she was walking, and it was compressed closer to her. In the end, I thought that the scene worked well for the lens. We shot most of the scenes at either 1.4 when it was in the shade, just because I wanted to see what that would look like. And if it was some of the brighter scenes, I had to close it down to about f5. With these case study challenges, I always look at the work and see what we could have done better. Now, what we could have done better was we probably should have shot it much earlier so that the light was more even throughout to be more similar to the original scene. I also have to give credit to Audrey Hepburn because the scene where she was navigating the paper bag, the little croissant, the coffee was so seamless. She probably did multiple takes to get that perfect, or maybe she was just insanely talented that she got it well. Because when you were watching Katerina, we did that take about 3 times, And you could see her struggling a little bit, or maybe thinking about everything she had to do in the right order, even though I think Katerina did an incredible job. I think we also replicated sort of the perspective and the angles of the shots quite well and put it together in a way where if you know the movie really well, then you know the scene that we created. In the end, we had a lot of fun doing that. I also thought the lens, the Sigma 85 1.4 DG/DN, was an incredible lens to shoot with. I thought the images were sharp. I did use dehancer to give it a bit more of that vintage vibe, but the raw shots are absolutely beautiful. And if you saw my original video talking about the photos, it's a really, really great lens. My only gripe with it really is that it is a little too heavy for my liking. Having said that, if you're looking for an 85 millimeter 1.4 that is pretty small and compact compared to the other options out there, it is a fantastic lens. I hope you enjoyed this one camera, one lens, one scene video. If you have any feedback for me, let me know. What would you have done differently? What did you like? What did you not? And let's start a conversation. So don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Don't forget to like, share, and thank you for always supporting myself and Katerina in what we do here. So we'll see you in the next one. And as always, live passionately and stay inspired.